If I were to get sick, just get out. It seemed like the document was just so business. It felt like Kandi hadn't even really reviewed it. I'll give Randy a call. I just want to talk through all of his concerns. And, it'll be best if
Are you going to be available if he calls it?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. I'll call you back.
Okay, y'all, so buckle up, because we're about to break this down piece by piece. Now, before anybody starts typing in the comments, let me be very clear about something. My argument here is not about Todd being under duress. I'm not saying he didn't know what he was signing. I'm not saying he was forced or scared or didn't understand the paperwork. That's not where I'm going with this at all. So if you came here thinking that's my angle, just hold on, because it's actually way deeper than that. Here's the thing that a lot of people don't understand. Attorneys have to follow some very strict ethical rules, okay? Like, these aren't suggestions. These are rules that can get you disbarred if you violate them. And one of the most important rules, and I mean the most important when it comes to this situation, is that an attorney cannot speak to a party who is already represented by counsel. You cannot do it. If someone has a lawyer, you have to go through their lawyer. The only time you can speak directly to someone about a legal matter is if they are pro se, meaning they're representing themselves and they don't have an attorney. That's it. Those are the rules. Now, here's where it gets messy. Todd never fired his attorney. We see this in the wedding special. He had representation. So when Kandi's attorney was sitting there with Todd in that hotel room, guiding him through the prenup, talking to him about what he's signing, baby, that was unethical. She should not have been in a room alone with him discussing legal matters when she knew, and she absolutely knew that he had his own attorney. This is the kind of thing that can get an attorney in serious professional trouble. I'm talking potential disciplinary action, and that's not me being dramatic, that's just how serious these ethical violations are. So based on these ethical violations alone, I genuinely believe a judge is going to look at this situation and throw that prenup out. Now, unless there are some deleted scenes that we didn't see, like maybe Todd actually fired his attorney and we just don't know about it. But if that didn't happen, then baby, because you cannot have a valid legal agreement when one of the attorneys involved violated the most basic ethical rules of the profession. It doesn't matter what Todd signed or didn't sign at that point. The process was compromised. Now, if this prenup does get thrown out, here's what happens next. All of the marital property is going to have to be divided in what the law calls a just and right way. And let me be clear about something. Just and right does not automatically mean equal. It doesn't mean 50/50. It means fair. The judge is going to look at all the circumstances, look at what each person contributed to the marriage, and divide things in a way that's fair to both parties.
Hi, this is Randy. I'm sorry I can't take your call. Leave a message.
Hey, Stevie. I'm sitting here with Todd. Do you mind if I put you on speakerphone? Okay. He wanted you guys to call his attorney, but why didn't you call him today?
Because I guess it didn't seem like it was necessary. I mean, what I read in the comments was that he didn't have enough time.
So it's not like Todd is automatically getting half of everything, but it does mean he's got a much better shot than what that prenup probably gave him. Okay, so there's this clip that really strengthened my whole argument here, and when I saw it, I was like, oh, this is even worse than I thought. In the clip, it's revealed that Kandi's attorney never even reached out to Todd's attorney. Like, she didn't make contact, didn't try to coordinate, nothing. And then on top of that, we see Todd trying to call his own attorney and he's not getting an answer. Like, baby, do you see how problematic this is? Todd hired an attorney specifically for this prenup situation. He's trying to reach him, he can't get through, and meanwhile, Kandi's attorney is right there having private conversations with him. This just adds even more weight to the argument that this prenup is invalid. Alright, let me break down the actual rule for y'all so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's called Rule 4.2, and a lot of people refer to it as the no contact rule. Very simple. An attorney cannot speak to a represented party about the case. You just can't do it. Now, there are only two exceptions to this rule. Number one, the opposing attorney gives you consent to speak to their client. Number two, the law or the court specifically authorizes you to do it. That's it. Those are the only two ways you can have that conversation. Otherwise, you stay in your lane and you communicate attorney to attorney. That's how it works. So let's apply this to what we saw happen. Todd had an attorney. We know this. It's documented. It's on camera. Kandi's attorney knew he was represented. There's no way she didn't know because this was a whole thing, okay? And yet, she still communicated with him directly. She gave him legal counsel. simple. She sat in that room and walked him through documents. Now, some people might say, well, Todd understood what he was signing, so what's the problem? Baby, that's not how this works. Even if Todd fully understood every single word on that paper, the rule still applies. You cannot talk to a represented party. It doesn't matter if they understand or not. The rule exists to protect the integrity of the legal process. Let me put this in even simpler terms for y'all with an example. Let's say I'm an attorney and I'm representing Todd, and I reach out to Kandi's lawyer to discuss the prenup. From that moment forward, Kandi's lawyer cannot legally talk to Todd without my permission. Like, if she sees Todd at the grocery store and tries to talk to him about the case, that's a violation. If she calls him, violation. If she sits down with him in a hotel room to go over documents, major violation. It doesn't matter if Todd wants to talk to her. It doesn't matter if he's comfortable with it. The rule exists to prevent exactly this type of situation, and it applies both ways. And y'all, when I watched the video and saw Kandi's attorney actually giving Todd advice, telling him that the only bad thing that could happen is if Kandi didn't want him later, I literally said out loud, "What are you doing?" That is a direct violation of Rule 4.2. You cannot give legal advice to someone who is represented by another attorney. You just can't. And I encourage all of y'all to look this up for yourselves. Google Georgia No Contact Rule or Rule 4.2 and read it. I'm not making this up. This is standard professional conduct. And what we saw on camera was a clear violation of it. Here's what some people need to understand. Attorneys can't just say, well, the client signed it, so it's fine. That's not how professional responsibility works. You are bound by ethical rules regardless of what your client does or doesn't do. It doesn't matter if Todd was happy to sign. It doesn't matter if Kandi wanted to move forward quickly. The rules exist for a reason, and when you're a licensed attorney, you have to follow them, period. Now let's talk about Kandi, who is Todd's attorney. In his motion, Kandi specifically documented that Todd was not truly represented at the time of signing, and baby, Kandi is not playing around. From what I can see, he's a strong attorney who knows exactly what he's doing. And you want to know something else? Kandi's attorney has made several paperwork errors throughout this process. There have been mistakes, resubmissions, corrections, and listen, we all make mistakes. But when you're dealing with something this serious, these kinds of errors look really unprofessional. It makes you question how carefully this whole thing was handled from the beginning. Let me ask y'all a question. Does it seem fair to you that Todd's attorney wasn't present when he signed the prenup, even though Todd specifically hired Kandi to help him with this exact situation? Like, that's why Kandi was hired in the first place, to represent Todd's interests in the prenup negotiation. And yet, when it came time to actually sign, Kandi wasn't there, but Kandi's attorney was. And not only was she there, but she's the one guiding Todd through it, acting like she's looking out for both of their interests? Baby, no. An attorney cannot properly represent both parties in a situation like this. That's a conflict of interest. She was supposed to be representing Kandi, not giving Todd advice. This whole thing looks like she was acting way outside of her ethical boundaries. The evidence here is crystal clear, y'all. Todd signed that prenup without his attorney present. Kandi's attorney interacted with him directly, gave him guidance, walked him through the document, all while knowing he had representation. This is a text, and according to Kandi's filings, no permission was ever given for Kandi's attorney to speak to Todd. Kandi didn't say, yeah, go ahead and talk to my client. That conversation never happened. So there's no exception here. There's no gray area. This is a straight up violation. Okay, this clip right here really drives the point home for me. In the footage, we see Todd calling Kandi his attorney, and Kandi tells him very clearly, I cannot speak to Kandi because she is represented by an attorney. Kandi knows the rules. He's following them correctly. He understands that he has to go through Kandi's lawyer. He can't just call Kandi directly. But here's the thing, that same restriction applies both ways. If Kandi can't talk to Kandi because she has an attorney, then Kandi's attorney should not have been talking to Todd. It's the exact same rule. The fact that we have Kandi on camera following the rule correctly just highlights how wrong it was for Kandi's attorney to violate it. So here's my final take on this whole situation. Kandi's attorney acted unethically. She violated the professional rules of conduct, and because of that, I believe this prenup is most likely getting thrown out. Now, like I said at the beginning, I could be wrong. If there's some unseen evidence, like maybe there are deleted scenes where Todd actually fired his attorney and we just don't know about it, then that would change things. But based on everything that's been shown and everything that's been filed, I don't see how this prenup stands. And if it does get thrown out, then all that marital property is going to be divided in a just and right way, which again, doesn't necessarily mean equal, but it means fair. And honestly, after everything I've seen, I think that's probably the right outcome here. But y'all let me know what you think in the comments.